Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Buccaneers 2019 schedule, talk about all the good, all the bad, and everything else in between involving this schedule. So without further ado, let's get into it. Some of you have been asking, hey James, where's that next in-depth Buccaneers player video talking about their journey to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Don't worry, I'm still working on it, putting the finishing touches on the writing portion, and then it should be up probably around this weekend, and then obviously leading up to the draft. I'm going to have a ton of content related to that, but in today's video, I wanted to make a video talking about the 2019 schedule and talk about some of the things I like, some of the things I don't like, and all that other stuff. So let's get into it, guys. Some of the things I like, first off, the preseason. Obviously, I know a lot of people are going to say, James, it's the preseason. What the heck are you talking about? But hey, you know what? Buccaneers football is back August 9th, 7:30 p.m. So I'm excited. I know a lot of you guys are going to be excited when it finally comes. I know, but James, it's the backups. But hey, you know what? I'm interested to see what this coaching staff does with a lot of their backups, because you never know, some of these guys could have some big roles, some of them could fizzle out. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with a lot of this roster, because it's a brand new roster, brand new coaching staff. I'm just going to be excited to see Bruce Arians and his coaching staff on the field in Buccaneers gear. That's a big deal to me, and I know it's a big deal to a lot of you guys as well. So the first thing I like is definitely the preseason, specifically week 1 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers for the preseason, because that's when football is back, baby. Taking away the preseason, another couple of things I like, obviously week 1 versus the San Francisco 49ers. It's a home game, which is cool for me. I'm going to try and go to it, and it's a revenge game for Quan Alexander, who is making $13.5 million a year with the 49ers now. And I know some people have said, well, James, he's not even going to be playing in that game because he's probably going to end up on the physically unable to perform list because he's still recovering from his torn ACL. And I would say yes, you are right. He probably is not going to be playing in that game, but I still think that the narrative is that Quan Alexander is going to be at a Bucs game on an opposing team. That's still a big deal considering what he was to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in terms of him being an overall middle linebacker and just what he gave to the organization as a whole. Now, I think this could get way more interesting if the Buccaneers drafted a guy like Devin White to be a Quan Alexander replacement. That would be really, really interesting, especially, post-game if Quan Alexander and Devin White are talking. That would just be a cool photo in my mind. So very interesting game. Definitely has a lot of interesting implications, especially since the 49ers and the Buccaneers, they're both potential playoff teams who are coming off of bad years and definitely have a lot to prove. So I'm really excited to see where both those teams go. And this should be a really good matchup. Of the other games I definitely like the New York Giants at home. I definitely like the Carolina Panthers, both those games. I think that the London game is cool, and I'll talk about it in a second. But I do like that we're getting both the Carolina Panthers games out of the way early, because I'm so meh whenever we play the Carolina Panthers. So I do like the fact that one of those games is in London. I'm going to try and go to that game because it would just be cool to visit London. I mean, come on, that would be sick. And then in terms of the New York Giants game, I think it'll be fine because I'm really interested to see what happens with that Giants team. They say they're not rebuilding, but who knows what's happening at this point whenever you trade away Odell Beckham Jr., for goodness sake. They have Saquon Barkley. They still have Eli Manning at quarterback. That might change with this upcoming draft. They have Golden Tate. They have Sterling Shepard, who they just signed to a brand new deal, and they have a defense that definitely has some question marks on it now that Landon Collins has left as well. So that should be another good game to watch. It's home, so again, another good one. And then the London game I like a lot as well. Have the Arizona Cardinals, which again could be very interesting because obviously, Kyler Murray could be the #1 overall pick in this upcoming draft, or it could be Nick Bosa, or it could be literally anybody if you want to break it down, but I think it's going to come down to Nick Bosa or Kyler Murray, and either way, watching those guys in week 10 at home is going to be interesting. Again, another game I'm going to try and go to. I'm going to try and go to all the Bucs home games, but, we could see Kyler Murray, we could see possibly Nick Bosa. I think watching either one of those rookies is going to be exciting. It's going to be electric. It's going to be a home game, and it's just going to be a cool time. So that's a really exciting game to watch. And it should be just an overall good experience. You then have, home game against the Indianapolis Colts, and then to finish off the year, you have 2 home games against the Houston Texans and the Atlanta Falcons, and I like this a lot, ending with 2 home games. I think that's a very good way to kind of end out the year. You don't end it with an away game, you end it at home. The Buccaneers have done that, I believe, the past couple of seasons. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section below, but I like the fact that we're ending with a couple of home games, because that's just fun, show up for the last couple of home games, just kind of hang out, have a good time, maybe, maybe they have playoff implications. Who knows? Maybe the Falcons and the Bucs are battling for a wild card spot or even battling to win the division. Who's to say? Who knows? But it is fun that both those games are at home. They should be fun games to go to. It's always a good time to go to a Bucs home game. So I like that a lot, that the Buccaneers are ending the year with 2 home games. Stuff I don't like. First things first is I don't necessarily like that 5-game stretch where the Buccaneers are playing 5 away games. That's pretty rough. I know a lot of people have been complaining about it. I'm not going to go as far as to say like, it's going to ruin our whole year. But it is a rough stretch because let's just look at this real quick, okay? You have the Los Angeles Rams, who are literally just in the Super Bowl, have to play them away. You have to play the New Orleans Saints, who were, obviously 1 play away from being in the Super Bowl. We have to play them away. You have the Carolina Panthers, who, the website calls it a home game. That's fine. It's an away game. But you have the Carolina Panthers away in London. That's going to be rough on the team for sure in just this really rough travel schedule. You then have the Tennessee Titans away, which again, they're a playoff team as well. And you have the Seattle Seahawks away as well. So should be really rough traveling schedule for the Buccaneers team because you have to play the Los Angeles Rams at 4:05 p.m. September 29th, and then you have to go play the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans at 1 p.m. October 6th, and then October 13th you have to go at 9:30 a.m. and play the Carolina Panthers, and then you have to go play October 27th the Tennessee Titans at 1 p.m. and then you have to go to Seattle and play the Seattle Seahawks November 3rd 4:05 p.m. All of these times are like, they're all changing. You go from 4:05 p.m. to 1 p.m. to 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. to 4:05 p.m. The Buccaneers players' sleep schedules are going to be so messed up. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a really, really rough slog. I trust Bruce Arians, and I really trust his coaching staff. I think that they're going to do a really good job of preparing these guys and really getting them going. But if you kind of just, like, it already sucks that it's a 5-game away game stretch, right? But if you really take into the what times the games are, it gets even worse because they're all at different times. The players can't even expect the same game time from week to week. Everything's changing from week to week for these guys, from the location they're going to what time they have to wake up, to what time they have to get ready to play the game. It's going to be a really rough 5 weeks for this team, but I'm confident that they will be fine overall. And you also have to take into account the opponents, the Rams, the Saints, the Titans, the Seahawks, the Panthers. They're all playoff teams, so I can't say it enough. That's a really rough 5-game stretch, but again, they'll be fine. I do want to point out, I do like the fact that the Titans and the Buccaneers are playing this year. Obviously, could potentially be the last ever matchup between Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston on their original teams. I'm not worried about Jameis Winston, mind you. I'm worried about Marcus Mariota because the Tennessee Titans just traded for Ryan Tannehill, and Mariota hasn't exactly been impressive as the Tennessee Titans starting quarterback. So could potentially be the last ever matchup. The number 1 and the number 2 overall picks from the 2015 NFL draft do battle. So that's a fun thing. I didn't really say that I liked it that much in the I like these kind of things section, but I do like that a lot. Could be the last time that we see these two guys battle on their original team. So that's cool to me. But yeah, guys, I really have no further thoughts aside from the fact that these Atlanta Falcons games, they're going to be physical. They're going to be absolutely physical because Dirk Cutter is the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, former head coach of the Buccaneers. Maybe you've heard of that guy. I fully expect Bucs players, specifically on defense, to be insanely physical with Dirk Cutter's offense. Really smash him, more so than they're already going to be doing because of Todd Bowles and his defense and whatnot. But I expect some fights to happen in both those Falcons games, like legit, because you gotta assume that not every player on the Bucs roster like Dirk Cutter, so I can imagine that they're gonna be smashing those Falcons players hard. The Falcon players are gonna smash back. Hey, maybe Dirk Cutter gets into some words with Bruce Arians. Who knows? It's gonna be interesting. I know Dirk Cutter's probably peeved at the Bucs, as he should be. I mean, he did get fired after all, but you got to imagine that some of the Bucs players are gonna be peeved at Dirk Cutter. So man, those are going to be 2 physical games on November 24th and December 29th. I'm very interested to see those games for sure. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all of my thoughts about the Buccaneers 2019 schedule. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What kind of overall record would you give for the Buccaneers? I'm not going to say any type of record predictions until, pretty much right before we're about ready to start football. Maybe even, later than that, maybe until right before the regular season starts. But I like the schedule overall. That 5-game stretch, Oh boy, that's a rough slog of traveling, but I do like some of these games. I like the 49ers game. I like the Giants game. You know, I definitely like the Cardinals game. All those three games definitely has some very interesting narratives to them. The Titans game, Jameis Winston versus Marcus Mariota, maybe one more time. And those Falcons games I think are going to be really cool as well because, hey, Dirk Cutter's on an opposing team, and it's going to be physical, man. I expect some bad blood. You know, maybe we finally get a really physical rivalry again. We haven't had one in a hot minute. So let me know what you guys think about this entire schedule down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And until always, I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream, guys. But until then, and as always, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.